Indonesia should not be possible. Not on this earth. 17,000 islands scattered like broken pieces of a dream. So many that visiting just one each day would take a lifetime. Many of those islands still have no official name. Beneath them, the earth is restless. Nearly 130 active volcanoes burn along the Pacific Ring of Fire, shaping the land again and again. On these remote islands, real dragons still roam, creatures powerful enough to bring down a wild buffalo. And yet somehow, life here goes on day after day, on land that never promised to be safe. Stay with us and let this story unfold. What you're about to see may change the way. Near the equator, where oceans collide and life multiplies beyond reason, there exists a place that feels almost unreal. Raja Ampat is not just beautiful, it is overwhelming. Here, more than 1,500 islands scatter across warm tropical seas. Forming the living heart of the Coral Triangle, the richest ocean ecosystem on Earth. In these waters, nearly 3/4 of the world's coral species grow side by side, supporting more life than anywhere else on the planet. Fish move in colours and numbers that feel impossible. While manta rays, sea turtles and whale sharks drift through deep channels as if this were their private world. Even the smallest creatures thrive, from tiny pygmy seahorses clinging to coral branches to brilliant nudibranchs glowing against the reef. Scientists still find new species here, proof that this place is far from fully understood. Above the surface, steep limestone islands rise straight out of the sea, wrapped in dense jungle and untouched silence. Few roads, few crowds, and almost no noise interrupt the rhythm of wind and water. Raja Ampat is what happens when nature is given the time and freedom to become extraordinary. Now, before we move on, here's a fun question. Which ocean borders Indonesia? Comment your answer. You've been taught that fire is red and lakes are for life, but this place breaks every rule of nature. Here the mountains burn with electric blue flames in the dark. And that turquoise water is actually a chemical bath that could melt your bones. Are you brave enough to look closer? High on the rim of an active volcano in eastern Java, Kawah Ijen holds the most acidic crater lake on Earth, sitting more than 2,300 metres above sea level. The lake looks calm and turquoise, but its water has a pH close to 0, making it strong enough to damage metal and burn skin. That strange colour comes from sulfuric acid mixed with dissolved minerals, rising from magma chambers deep below the mountain. Over thousands of years, volcanic activity shaped the crater, leaving golden cliffs, jagged rocks, and sulfur deposits that create surreal landscapes. Steam rises constantly, mixing with the sharp smell of sulfur, creating a mysterious, almost otherworldly atmosphere. Hiking here is a challenge. Long, rugged trails, uneven paths, and thin mountain air make the climb a test of endurance. Travellers must wear long pants, trekking shoes, and sometimes masks to protect from sulfur fumes, while waiting for the sunrise to illuminate the lake in turquoise light. As dawn breaks, mist lifts, and the lake shimmers like a giant gemstone trapped in a crater. The contrast of lethal acid waters and tranquil beauty makes every step to the rim unforgettable. If you're watching this, please click the subscribe button in the corner of the screen. It's completely free, but it means a lot to us. Over 1,000 years ago, Nusa Penida was a fortress for exiled kings, criminals and priests, a place where few dared to set foot. Under the rule of the Klongkong Kingdom, the island became a place where those cast out from society were sent, earning a reputation as a black magic island or a natural fortress. Its steep cliffs and jagged hills made it nearly impossible to reach, while the rough waters of the Batang Strait isolated it completely from the mainland. Even powerful Balinese rulers struggled to conquer it, and the island's residents learned to survive in a harsh, unforgiving landscape. The highest hills rise up to 524 metres, shaping a dry, rugged interior that stands in stark contrast to Bali's green lowlands. Kelimutu Beach, shaped like a giant T-Rex, drops sharply to a hidden white sand shore where turquoise waves crash relentlessly. Angel's Billabong, a natural infinity pool carved into volcanic rock, glimmers with emerald water at low tide, offering a serene contrast to the surrounding cliffs. Underwater, Manor Point hosts giant manta rays gliding gracefully through the currents, sometimes gathering in large groups as if performing a synchronized dance. This is Nusa Penida, an island shaped by history and the sea itself, where danger, mystery, and stunning natural beauty come together to create a place unlike anywhere else in Indonesia. The Leo people believe that when a person takes their last breath, their soul doesn't ascend to the heavens but returns to the summit of Kelimutu. If you lived a virtuous life, the blue lake awaits you. But if your heart carried dark sins, the red lake of evil spirits will imprison your soul forever in its boiling waters. For centuries, this belief has shaped how the locals live, teaching respect for life and the natural world. The three crater lakes, Tiwu Arambupu, Tiwu Nuwa Murikutai, and Tiwu Arapolo, sit side by side, each with a story and a colour that seems to breathe with the volcano beneath. Scientists tell a different story. The shifting hues are caused by minerals, volcanic gases, and chemical reactions deep under the Earth's surface. Yet even with science, the lakes remain mysterious. Visitors climb the summit in darkness, arriving just before dawn to witness the first rays of sunlight lighting the magical waters. Mist curls around the lakes, adding to the sense that this is a place between worlds, earthly yet spiritual, dangerous yet serene. Here, at 1,639 metres above sea level, the line between legend and reality blurs, leaving every visitor with a sense that they are standing in a place truly touched by the impossible. Between Sumbawa and Flores, dragons are not just legends. Here, Komodo dragons rule 29 islands, hunting buffalo and roaming hills shaped by volcanoes in one of the world's most extraordinary parks. Komodo National Park was established in 1980 to protect these rare animals, and now covers both land and sea across nearly 2,000 square kilometres. Around 2,500 Komodo dragons live here, making it the only place on Earth where this species still survives in the wild. These islands are dry, hot and rugged, with savannas and rocky slopes where temperatures can reach 40 degrees Celsius. beneath the water lies one of the richest marine ecosystems on the planet. Located at the heart of the Asia-Pacific Coral Triangle. Strong currents feed coral reefs filled with fish, manta rays, sharks, turtles, and countless other species. This sharp contrast between harsh land and thriving seas is what makes Komodo National Park feel almost unreal. Many people spend their lives searching for something that truly moves them. A place that makes them feel small, quiet, and alive at the same time. For some, that moment happens here, standing before Tumpak Sewu. Hidden in East Java, this waterfall does not fall as one stream, but as hundreds, spilling together like a giant curtain of water. From a height of nearly 120 metres, the water pours down in a wide half circle, earning its name, which means 1,000 waterfalls. From the rim above, Tumpak Sewu looks almost gentle, like the branches of a living tree made of mist and light. But below, the sound becomes thunder, and the air fills with spray and rainbows that appear and disappear without warning. This is a place shaped by both patience and power, where beauty exists because the land itself is never truly at rest. Long before visitors arrived, local villagers came here only to gather grass. Unaware they were walking beside one of Indonesia's most astonishing natural wonders. Today, people stand in the same valley, not to work, but to feel something rare. The quiet awe of nature at its most overwhelming and most alive. Local legend tells of a farmer named Toba who married a woman once cursed to live as a fish. He promised never to reveal her secret, knowing that breaking his word would bring disaster. They had a child together, a boy known for an endless hunger that often tested his father's patience. One day, exhausted and furious, the farmer broke his vow and shouted the truth, calling the child a son of a fish. The moment the words were spoken, the promise was shattered. When anger made him speak the truth, the sky turned black and thunder split the land. The boy fled home in terror, and his mother ordered him to run to the highest hill and to climb as far as he could. Rain fell without stopping, flooding the valley where they once lived. The water kept rising until the land vanished completely. The valley became Lake Toba. The hill where the child escaped rose above the water as Samosir Island, what the legend describes as a flood. Science later revealed as one of the most powerful volcanic eruptions in human history. The eruption collapsed into a massive caldera, creating what is now the largest volcanic lake in the world. Have you heard the legend behind this place? Comment 1 if you have, or 2 if this is still on your bucket list. The Gili Islands are a group of 3 small islands near the northwest coast of Lombok, Indonesia. They are named Gili Trawangan, Gili Meno, and Gili Air. And together they are known locally as Gili Indah, meaning small, beautiful islands. The word Gili itself simply means small island in the local Sasak language, which explains why many islands around Lombok share similar names. One special rule shapes daily life here. Cars and motorbikes are not allowed on any of the 3 islands. Because of this, people walk, ride bicycles, or use horse carts, and the air stays clean and quiet. Each island has small resorts made up of simple huts, along with a few pools and restaurants close to the beach. The islands are small enough that visitors can walk around the coastline in less than 2 hours. They sit in clear turquoise water and are lined with white sand and coconut trees, making them easy to recognise from afar. Today, speedboats bring visitors from Bali, and while tourism is growing, the islands are still known for their slow pace and relaxed feeling. Bali is home to over 500 species of reef-building corals, 7 times more than the entire Caribbean. And this is just one corner of the island's incredible natural wealth. The island covers 5,780 square kilometres, with beaches, jungles and volcanoes that shape its unique landscape. Bali is the only Hindu-majority province in Indonesia, and its culture is visible everywhere, from temples to daily rituals. Rice terraces stretch across the hills, carefully managed by the Subak irrigation system, a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Mount Batur and Mount Agung rise in the interior, offering views and adventures that draw visitors beyond the coastline. Bali's beaches like Kuta and Nusa Dua are famous for surfing, swimming and relaxing under the sun. Temples and traditional ceremonies keep Balinese culture alive, giving visitors a chance to see centuries-old traditions in action. Even with growing tourism, many corners of Bali remain peaceful, from hidden waterfalls to quiet villages tucked in the hills. This combination of nature, culture and tradition makes Bali a place that is both easy to explore and endlessly fascinating. For over 1,000 years, this temple has stood on the edge of a 70-metre cliff. Built as a spiritual gateway between the land, the ocean and the heavens. Pura Uluwatu rises at the southern tip of Bali, where powerful Indian Ocean waves slam endlessly into limestone walls far below the shrine. Ancient Balinese records say the site was founded by the Javanese priest Empu Kuturan in the 11th century, then expanded centuries later by the sage Dang Hang Niratha after long periods of meditation on these cliffs. Balinese Hindus believe Uluwatu is a sacred portal, a place where the boundary between the human world and the divine grows thin. Each evening at sunset, the temple becomes the setting for the Kicchak fire dance, where dozens of men chant in rhythm as flames flicker against the darkening sea, retelling stories from the Ramayana. Surrounding the temple is an 11-hectare forest that shelters more than 400 lively monkeys, whose playful antics and curious nature add life and charm to the ancient cliffs. East of Sumbawa and west of Sola, Flores rises from the Flores Sea like a world apart. Volcanoes, emerald forests, crystal lakes, and giant dragons make it feel like you've stepped into a place untouched by time. This island is the largest in East Nusa Tenggara, covering over 14,000 square kilometres, yet much of it remains wild and sparsely populated. Flores is home to the legendary Komodo dragons, the largest living lizards on Earth, which have thrived here for more than 1.4 million years. Long before modern humans arrived, Flores was inhabited by Homo floresiensis, a tiny, archaic human whose fossils stunned scientists and rewrote our understanding of human evolution. Flores lies along active tectonic zones, meaning earthquakes and volcanic eruptions have shaped its dramatic landscapes for millennia. traditional villages still hold on to ancient customs, offering a glimpse of the island's rich culture through vibrant ceremonies and dances. Despite its wild beauty, Flores remains accessible at the right time of year, from April to June or September to November, when weather is mild and the island feels both peaceful and alive. We use many sources, so if you spot something off or have more to add, leave a comment. We'd love to hear from you. Bukit Lawang hosts over 5,000 Sumatran orangutans, one of the largest populations left in the world. Few know you can see them up close, swinging from trees just meters away from the village. This small village sits on the bank of the Bahorok River, in the shadow of the vast Gunung Leuser National Park. The park is home to many rare animals, from Thomas's leaf monkeys to the elusive slow loris, each playing a role in the delicate jungle ecosystem. In the 1970s, a rehabilitation centre was founded here to protect orangutans from hunting and deforestation, helping them survive and return to the wild. Although the centre closed in 2002 due to rising tourism, the forest remains a sanctuary where orangutans and humans share the same space. Visitors often spot wild boars, civets, and macaques along jungle trails, making every walk a journey into a living rainforest. Here, in East Java, sand plains stretch endlessly under smoky skies. And one of the planet's most restless volcanoes rises like a god of creation. At 2,329 metres tall, Mount Bromo is not the highest peak in the Tenga Mountains, but it is the most active and famous volcano in the region. It stands in the middle of the Sea of Sand, a vast plain of volcanic ash that stretches for kilometres, giving the area an eerie, otherworldly appearance. The volcano has erupted dozens of times in the last 2 centuries, sometimes shaking towns like Malang and Probolinggo several kilometres away. Mount Bromo is named after Brahma, the Hindu god of creation, reflecting the mountain's sacred importance to the local Tenga people. Every year during the Kasada festival, the Tenga people throw offerings of vegetables, chickens and coins into the crater to honour the gods and seek protection from the volcano's eruptions. Travellers watch the sun rise over the caldera as smoke curls from the crater and golden light spreads across the sea of sand. Over 40 years ago, Menjangan Island became the birthplace of modern diving in Bali. Few people know that this small island, just 10 kilometres from Bali's mainland, shaped the entire underwater adventure industry of Indonesia. The name Menjangan means deer in both Balinese and Indonesian, because wild deer swim to the island every spring, covering more than a mile of open water. The island is part of the West Bali National Park Conservation Area, which protects its beaches, forests, and coral reefs from development. Menjangan is surrounded by coral walls that drop nearly 60 metres, forming caves filled with sponges, soft corals, and hundreds of fish species. Large groupers, moray eels, batfish, and tuna swim through the deeper caves, while sea turtles occasionally glide along the shallower reefs. Its calm currents and protection from strong winds make the island a safe and reliable place for diving, which is why it became a training ground for Indonesia's first professional dive clubs in the late 1970s. From above, Padar looks like a painter's palette. Green hills spilling into turquoise bays with beaches of white, grey and even pink sand. Padar Island is the third largest island in Komodo National Park, located between Komodo and Rinca. Its steep, volcanic hills rise sharply from the sea, forming viewpoints that overlook multiple deep bays. The island has a dry climate, and its land is covered mostly with bushes and grass, creating a savanna-like landscape. Each of the island's 4 main bays has beaches of different colours, formed over centuries by natural processes. Climbing to the top of the hills is challenging, but the views of the bays and beaches from above reward every step. Showing why Padar is one of Indonesia's most remarkable natural sights. While most of southern Bali grew around beaches and trade, Ubud grew around rivers, temples, and rice fields. That single difference shaped how people lived, farmed, and worshipped here for hundreds of years. Ubud sits in the centre of Bali, about 40 kilometres from the airport in Denpasar, far from the busy coastal towns. Instead of ocean views, the town is surrounded by rivers, jungle valleys, and wide rice terraces fed by natural water systems. These fields and waterways supported farming families and allowed Hindu temples to become the centre of daily life. Because of this, Ubud developed as a place for artists, priests, and traditional ceremonies, rather than trade and shipping. By the 1930s, travellers were already coming here to experience its calm atmosphere and strong local culture. Today, Ubud is known as the cultural heart of Bali, where old traditions continue alongside modern visitors. Its quiet pace, historic temples and green landscape still offer a peaceful escape from the faster world outside. There's a tiny island unlike anything on Earth, where houses are built entirely from coral. And the oldest traditions survive amidst one of the world's most crowded communities. Bungin Island is located in the north of Sumbawa Regency, West Nusa Tenggara, surrounded by the Bali Sea. The island sits about 70 kilometres from the town of Sumbawa Besar, and reaching it requires a short boat ride from nearby coastal towns like Labuan Bajo or Alas. All the houses on the island are built from coral rocks collected from the sea. Because there is very little land for traditional construction materials. The island is home to the Bajo tribe, who have lived here for generations and continue their daily fishing and trading routines. There are no beaches or green landscapes on Bungin, so every activity happens on the narrow streets or on the water. The locals use the surrounding sea for transport, fishing and trading, making the waterways the busiest parts of the island. Despite the high population density, tourists can explore the island and observe the unique coral houses and daily life of the community. Visitors who enjoy photography find endless opportunities here. From the colourful boats in the port to families carrying out their routines on coral streets. Labuan Bajo's name means the place where sea nomads stop. Long ago, this was a small fishing town on the western edge of Flores, where sailors came ashore to rest, trade, and wait for calm seas. Its location made it a natural harbour, protected by land and open to the wide ocean beyond. For generations, life here followed the rhythm of boats, tides, and simple daily work along the shore. As time passed, Labuan Bajo grew from a quiet village into the capital of West Manggarai Regency. It also became the main gateway to Komodo National Park, linking this town to the wider world. Fishing boats still line the harbour, sharing space with tour vessels heading toward distant islands. Green hills rise behind the town, while clear turquoise water stretches out in front, shaping its everyday view. The climate brings a dry season with calm seas, making travel and exploration easier for both locals and visitors. Keep watching, because Labuan Bajo is only the beginning of a much larger story waiting to unfold. The name Tanah Lot means land in the sea, and it is not a metaphor. When the tide rises, the temple becomes a small island, completely cut off from the shore. For generations, worship here has depended not on roads, but on the rhythm of the ocean. Tanah Lot was founded in the 16th century by the Hindu priest Dang Hyang Nir Arthur during his mission to spread Hinduism across Bali. He chose this offshore rock as a sacred point, believing it to be a powerful place to honour the gods of the sea. Tanah Lot later became one of 7 sea temples built along Bali's coast, each positioned within sight of the next to form a spiritual chain. The temple's role is not symbolic. It is believed to guard the island from dangerous forces coming from the ocean. At low tide, worshippers can approach the rock on foot, while at high tide, the sea reclaims it completely, reinforcing the boundary between the human world and the divine. For centuries, this daily isolation has not weakened Tanah Lot's importance. It has defined it, turning the movement of the ocean itself into part of Bali's spiritual system. At 3,726 metres, Mount Rinjani towers above Lombok. Below, a crater lake glows like a piece of the ocean. Segara Anak Lake lies nearly 2,000 metres above sea level and reaches 200 metres deep, a rare body of water formed inside the volcano. From the lake rises Mount Baru, a new cone created by eruptions in the 1990s showing that Rinjani is still active today. The Sasak people consider the mountain sacred and hold ceremonies at the lake, honouring Princess Anjani, who is said to guard the volcano. According to legend, Princess Anjani meditated on the peak and became a spiritual guardian, a figure still respected by locals. Rinjani's slopes are steep and rugged, with trails that challenge climbers but lead to panoramic views of Lombok and nearby islands. Hot springs along the crater rim release steam, a reminder of the mountain's ongoing volcanic activity. The forests on the lower slopes are home to unique plants and animals that survive in this volcanic landscape. Every visitor to Mount Rinjani experiences both the raw power of the volcano and its deep cultural significance to the people of Lombok. Unlike the famous Ulun Danu Beratan, Ulun Danu Tamblingan has remained hidden for centuries. Floating shrines, misty waters, and silent forests make it one of Bali's most untouched sacred places. The temple sits on the northern shore of Lake Tamblingan, a crater lake formed by volcanic activity thousands of years ago. It was built to honour Dewi Danu, the Balinese water goddess, who is believed to control lakes, rivers, and irrigation for rice fields across the region. Visitors can explore the temple by paddling in traditional wooden canoes passing small shrines that appear to float on the water. The surrounding forest is home to native birds and plants, creating an natural barrier that has kept the temple quiet and largely unchanged. Each morning, mist rises from the lake, covering the temple in a soft fog. That makes the scene feel suspended in time. According to local legend, Wae Rebo began with a dream. A man named Empo Maro, forced to leave his homeland after conflict and false accusations, dreamed of a wise figure guiding him to a safe place in the mountains of Flores. He followed that vision and eventually settled in a hidden valley, surrounded by forest and mist about 1,200 metres above sea level. For generations, the people of Wae Rebo lived in harmony with this isolated landscape, shaping their lives around the mountain climate and limited access. At the centre of village life stand 7 main houses known as Mbaru Nyang. Tall cone-shaped structures built from wood, bamboo and palm leaves. These houses were designed to withstand heavy rain, strong winds and cold air, while keeping the entire community connected around one shared space. Over time, the structures aged and were badly damaged, and some families began moving to lower areas where daily life was easier. By the early 2000s, Wae Rebo faced a real risk of losing its traditional architecture and way of life. Between 2008 and 2011, the village was carefully restored with the help of Indonesian architects, leading to international recognition and a UNESCO Cultural Heritage Award in 2012. From a distance, they look like giant wizard hats abandoned on the beach. But stand beneath them, and you realise these are architectural masterpieces reaching for the heavens. Welcome to Ratenggaro, the village of the Brobdingnagian rooftops. Hidden on the wild coast of southwest Sumba, this isolated gem requires a rugged 2-hour drive to reach, as modern public transport simply does not exist here. The village is famous for its staggering bamboo roofs that soar up to 25 metres high. Structured in 4 distinct layers to separate the livestock below from the humans and the sacred spirits above. The name Ratenggaro translates to Grave of the Garo, referencing the ancient stone megaliths that sit side by side with the living residents. Walking here feels like stepping into a time capsule from the megalithic era, where the winds of the Indian Ocean mix with the silent whispers of a civilization that has survived for thousands of years. You dream of that one Instagram perfect shot that looks like a fantasy world, but you hate the fake tourist traps? This is the answer. Locals name this place Broken Beach because the ground collapsed here to form a perfect circular hole in the island. The ocean water floods in through a massive natural archway, creating a bright blue lagoon that is completely cut off from the open sea. You cannot climb down or swim inside, so the best experience is walking around the high cliff edge to watch the waves crash below. There is absolutely no shade in this wild area, so you should visit at sunset to avoid the heat and see the rock arch glow. Just a 2-minute walk away. You can look down from the cliffs and often spot giant manta rays gliding in the deep water. This spot sits right next to Angel's Billabong, so you can easily explore 2 of nature's most rugged wonders in a single trip. In 1811, a forgotten city of over 240 temples was discovered near Yogyakarta. These temples were built during the reign of the Sanjaya dynasty, which ruled central Java between 732 and 947 CE. The main temple towers rise over 150 feet and are decorated with detailed carvings showing Hindu gods and stories. Originally, thousands of priests and disciples lived nearby to perform ceremonies and care for the temples. Over the centuries, many temples were damaged by earthquakes and volcanic eruptions, leaving only ruins behind. Restoration work began in the early 20th century, but some temples cannot be fully rebuilt because the stones were scattered or destroyed. Today, visitors can walk among the remaining towers and see the precise layout of the temples, which were built without modern tools. Prambanan is now one of the largest and most impressive Hindu temple complexes in Southeast Asia. Beyond the crowded beaches, beyond the Instagram posts, lies a valley where 7 waterfalls fall from heaven, pouring into a jungle that feels untouched by time. Sekumpul Waterfall is the tallest in Bali, dropping over 80 metres from a sacred pool that locals visit to bathe and pray. The waterfalls are fed by 2 streams, forming a cluster of narrow cascades surrounded by dense bamboo forest. Reaching the valley requires walking down steep dirt tracks, crossing streams and climbing about 100 steps. The mist from the falls keeps the valley green and humid, helping plants grow thick and creating a peaceful, cool atmosphere. Around Sekumpul, other waterfalls spill into the same valley, but none match its height or the sacred pool at the top. The valley is part of North Bali, where the mountains rise and the climate is cooler than the southern beaches, making the scenery very different. Travellers often take a day trip from Ubud or Seminyak, and arriving early in the morning allows them to enjoy the waterfalls before the crowds come. Imagine a city where the streets are rivers and the shops float by in small wooden boats. This isn't a dream, it's Lok Bar in Tan Floating Market in Indonesia, where life flows as naturally as the water itself, and every sunrise brings a spectacle of colours and stories. The market has existed for hundreds of years, dating back to the era of the Banjar Sultanate. Hundreds of canoes gather along the Marapura River before sunrise, forming a long, colourful line that stretches for almost 3 kilometres. Most of the traders are women who sell fruits, vegetables, fish and baked goods, while buyers come in empty boats to pick up supplies. Some trading is done by barter, a practice that has continued for generations and still thrives today. As the sun rises, the boats slowly move through smaller canals, bringing goods to homes and other villages along the river. By 7 a.m, the market begins to thin out, leaving a quiet river dotted with the last remaining boats, marking the end of the morning's bustling activity. Travel enthusiasts are calling it the hidden Nepal of Java. A village so perfectly stacked on steep hillsides, it looks like it was lifted straight from the Himalayas. Nepal van Java is actually called Dusun Butu, a small village in Kalyang Creek district, Magelang, central Java. It sits at the foot of Mount Sumbing, surrounded by vegetable plantations and mountain slopes that rise sharply into the sky. The houses are built along the steep hillsides, stacked in layers so each one has a view of the mountains. The village is nicknamed Nepal van Java because its layout and colourful homes resemble villages near the Himalayas. Visitors can walk through the terraced fields and see how locals grow vegetables and maintain their gardens on the steep land. From sunrise to sunset, the sunlight changes the colours of the houses and terraces, making the village look different at every moment. Hiking trails around the village let people experience the mountain air and the panoramic views of Mount Sumbing and the surrounding highlands. Keep watching, because up next we'll uncover a hidden corner of Indonesia that feels even more unreal, almost like stepping into another world. Ever dreamed of walking through a place where every view looks like a painting? Tegallalang's cascading rice terraces are more than a photo opportunity. They're a doorway to the serenity your mind has been craving. Tegallalang is a district in Gianyar Regency, Bali, located about 10 kilometres north of Ubud. The terraces cover a total area of more than 60 square kilometres and are home to over 50,000 people who live and work in the village. Each terrace is irrigated using a traditional system called subak, which has been managed by local farmers for hundreds of years. The subak system was first introduced by Arsi Markandeya, a holy man from the 8th century, who taught villagers how to share water fairly across all the terraces. Visitors can walk along the narrow paths between terraces, see farmers planting or harvesting rice, and observe the channels that carry water from one level to the next. Early mornings are the best time to visit. When the sun rises over the valley, the light reflects on the water-filled terraces, and the area is quiet enough to fully enjoy the patterns of green steps and surrounding palm trees. Over 29,000 years ago, a massive eruption tore Mount Batur apart, leaving a caldera that now cradles a shimmering lake. Locals say the goddess Dewi Danu watches over it, blessing anyone brave enough to climb its slopes before sunrise. The volcano rises 1,717 metres above sea level, sitting inside a giant crater formed by the collapse of its magma chamber thousands of years ago. Its black lava fields stretch across the highlands, showing the marks of eruptions that shaped the landscape over centuries. Villagers living near the caldera grow rice and vegetables on soil enriched by volcanic ash, making it one of the most fertile areas in Bali. From the top, Lake Batur reflects the sky like a mirror, surrounded by small villages and rolling hills that have grown from the volcano's fertile slopes. Despite its frequent activity, the mountain has become a popular and accessible trekking spot, blending adventure with natural beauty and cultural significance. Indonesia now has a statue taller than the Statue of Liberty, weighing 4,000 tonnes, standing 263 metres above the sea. It is called Garuda Wisnu Kencana, or GWK, and it shows the Hindu god Vishnu riding his mythical eagle, Garuda. The statue sits on a 46-metre high pedestal, making the total height almost 121 metres. It is made of copper and brass sheets with a strong steel and concrete frame inside. Golden mosaics cover Vishnu's crown, shining brightly in the sunlight. The park around the statue covers 60 hectares of land in Unggasan, Bali, just a short drive from the airport. Construction took many years and it was finished and inaugurated in 2018 by Indonesia's president. The monument was built to honour a Hindu legend, where Garuda agrees to carry Vishnu in exchange for saving his mother. From above, Lombok looks like a painting, coral reefs glowing beneath sapphire waters. Volcanoes piercing the clouds and villages nestled like tiny gems. The island sits between Bali and Sumbawa, separated by the Lombok and Allah Straits, giving it a unique location in the chain of the Lesser Sunda Islands. Its beaches are famous for soft white sand and clear waters, attracting surfers and snorkelers from around the world. Mount Rinjani dominates the island, a volcano rising over 3,700 metres with a crater lake that reflects the sky like a natural mirror. Lombok is home to waterfalls like Tiu Kelep and Sendang Gile, where water plunges from volcanic cliffs into emerald pools. The surrounding seas are part of one of the world's largest coral reef zones, often called the Amazon of the seas for its incredible diversity of fish and coral. Villages like Sembalun and Stubalan preserve traditional Sasak culture, with thatched houses and farming practices that have lasted for generations. During the dry season from April to September, travellers can enjoy hiking, surfing and snorkeling without worrying about heavy rain, making it the perfect time to explore the island's natural beauty. Nestled in the heart of Bali, Penglipuran is a traditional village that feels like stepping back in time. Here, the villagers still live by their ancient customs, keeping traditions alive in every home and garden. The village streets are straight and clean, lined with colourful flowers and green grass, leading all the way to a distant temple. Every house is built in the same style, showing harmony between the people and their culture. Penglipuran follows the philosophy of Trihita Karana, balancing life between humans, nature, and the divine. Long ago, the villagers came from another town called Bayung Gede, bringing their customs and ways of life with them. The village name means a place to remember ancestors or a place for comfort, reminding everyone of its deep history. Penglipuran has won awards for protecting its bamboo forests and keeping its traditions strong while welcoming visitors. Walking through Penglipuran, you can feel the peace, beauty, and community spirit that make this village truly special. In the mountains of northern Bali, on the calm waters of Lake Beritan, sits the beautiful Uluwatu Temple. People call it the Floating Temple because its shrines look like they are resting on the water when the lake rises. The temple was built in the 1600s to honour the Hindu gods Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, and the lake goddess Dewi Danu. Lake Beritan provides water for farming, so the temple plays an important role in keeping the land fertile. The complex has 3 main tiered shrines, with a number of roofs showing which god each shrine honours. Visitors can walk through the gardens and see 2 smaller shrines that float right on the lake. There is a pier where you can rent boats to get closer views of the temples from the water. The temple's open-air layout, stone gates, and pagoda roofs follow traditional Balinese design rules. Millions of years ago, a massive collision of tectonic plates beneath the ocean pushed fiery volcanic mountains onto the surface. It wasn't a disaster, it was the birth of Java, the most powerful, populous, and breathtaking island on the planet. A place you must see at least once in your life. Java stretches between the Indian Ocean to the south and the Java Sea to the north. Holding over 156 million people, more than half of Indonesia's population. Even with so many people, the island still holds secrets of nature and history side by side, waiting to be discovered. Volcanoes rise like guardians along its spine, while green rice terraces flow down the slopes, painting the land with life and colour. Long ago, mighty Hindu-Buddhist empires ruled here, followed by Islamic sultanates, leaving behind temples, stories, and traditions that still shape daily life. Jakarta, the busy capital on the northwest coast, hums with energy, where modern skyscrapers meet historic streets at every turn. Across the island, 4 UNESCO World Heritage Sites, Borobudur, Prambanan, Ujung Kulon, and Sangiran, stand as timeless proof of human imagination and devotion. Whether you're drawn to ancient temples, bustling cities, or mountains born from fire, Java promises a journey that amazes the eyes and stirs the soul. Jatiluwih is a village in Bali known for its vast rice terraces that stretch over 600 hectares. Shaped like giant green steps across the hills. The terraces are built using the subac system, an ancient irrigation method recognised by UNESCO, which carefully channels water from rivers through canals, dams and tunnels. Farmers in Jatiluwih have used the subac system for centuries, passing down the knowledge from one generation to the next. The rice terraces are backed by Mount Batu Karu, which adds a dramatic view and makes the landscape even more stunning. Jatiluwih sits high in the mountains, giving visitors cool, clean air that feels very different from busy city streets. The best time to visit is in the dry season from April to October. And mornings or late afternoons are ideal for walking without strong heat. Indonesia is not a country you finish understanding in one journey. Each island feels like a different world, shaped by fire, water, and time in its own way. Volcanoes still rise, forests still breathe, and ancient rituals continue without asking for attention. People here do not live against nature, but beside it. From quiet villages to busy cities, life keeps adapting, just as it always has. Some places feel untouched, others deeply changed, yet all of them carry the same quiet strength. The longer you look, the more you realise Indonesia is less about sights and more about rhythm. A rhythm built on patience, resilience, and respect for forces far bigger than any one person.